Hey everybody, what's going on? UltimatDjz here from the Talking Trek podcast, and what we decided to do today was actually recap a little bit of the most recent podcast for you. So we took some of the clips because we felt like this was important for us to be able to talk about here in the community, and we wanted to reach you here on YouTube. So what we've done is we've taken a little bit of the podcast last night and condensed it down into this YouTube video for you to get the information and for you to weigh in. Before we get started though, please do subscribe to the channel, click on the little bell notifier so you know about when we do additional new content. Click the little like button, give us a thumbs up, and be sure, most importantly, to leave your comments down below. If you've got questions, we want to answer them for you. So without further ado, here's a little bit from the podcast the other night so that you too can know what is going on. What should you actually do? So, Gregor, Ripper, let's spend a few minutes here talking specifically to a younger level player, okay? Let's transport back. Let's go back about, for you, Gregor, let's go back about 25 levels. And let's talk about prime officers, all right? So we know in the Discord, in the official announcement, they sent the kind of the pros and cons list, right? They said, all right, or said, here's the benefits of prime Borg Refinery versus prime officers, okay? Gregor, in your opinion, just right off the bat, let's do this Snake Eyes' way, okay? Let me give you 90 seconds. You give your opinion on which you think is better and why, and we'll move on. Ripper, we'll move to you next. 90 seconds round table, okay? Go ahead. Gregor, what do you got? Which one should a player go with, prime officers or prime Borg?
Prime Borg, because of the new territory tree with officer conditioning, which essentially is partially a prime officers.
Okay, but officer conditioning, it's available at the very early part of the leg. It's a 15 level research. Now, you know, here's the thing though, Gregor. I don't know where this thing would be ops gated. Like, for example, right now I'm 8 out of 15. Okay, I'm 8 out of 15, but okay, this one for me to go to level 9 requires ops 37.
I would definitely take the epic though and get prime Borg, because you're not going to get an epic for so far down the road, but you can get rare so easy. I mean, not so easy, but pretty easy.
But sooner than. Blue Mandalorian says, is the prime Borg Refinery pack ever going away? No, Blue, it's not. It's a prime. It's here to stay, I can confirm.
They do go away once you research them.
Oh, well, yeah. No, I meant like, okay, so yeah.
Just an FYI, some
enough.
people may be wondering when they researched it that the pack disappears because previous primes didn't.
That's true.
Those do.
That is true. That is correct. That's a thing. If you research it, it goes away. But you're asking if you don't buy it this month, like Blue may be saying, hey, if I decide to convert it to rare, do prime officers, and then I still need to buy the Borg pack to get Borg Refinery. Yes, if you haven't done prime Borg Refinery, the pack for sale will remain available. Okay. Now, prime officers is available to ops 20, but as we indicated earlier, will require ops 34 before you could actually scrap a Mayflower. Okay. So officer conditioning, as Neo is pointing out, does require a pretty high ops level for max. So prime officers, folks, that's a 100% boost to stats. Now, I'm not discounting what Gregor says, because he's right. You can at least get a partial amount of that prime completely free in the game. Okay, completely free. And by the way, somebody said, well, yeah, but you have to have a territory. Not true. Not true, because this particular research requires no particles and only requires tier 1 refined isogen, which your alliance can do without owning a territory. Okay, so officer conditioning is only in the third little spoke here at the very beginning of territory research. It does not require anything related to a territory. So yes, officer conditioning is something that's available for free, but it could be ops gated. Okay, it could be ops gated. Maztec says, thank you, that's actually what I was looking for. Officer conditioning will only get you to 19% as an ops 31. Okay, so as an ops 31 can only go up to 19%, and that's kind of what we were looking at. That would be level 5. Okay, now Blue Mandalorian says prime officers is a huge boost to power though, right? No, it's not technically. So let's talk about this again, and we did a video on this somewhat here a few months ago. You guys could go back and watch it. It's called Underdeck Officers, to fill or not to fill. Prime Officers itself is not a boost to power. Okay, so let's talk about what Prime Officers does, Gregor. And we used to say that it basically doubled your stats, but that's not true anymore, right, Ripper? There's additional researches now, right? You've got in the well, we just saw officer conditioning there in the territory tree. Also, if you go into the galaxy tree, you've got attack training and defense training, okay? Notice, by the way, Gregor, in the galaxy tree, there's no health training, is there? There's no one research that impacts just the officer's health stats. Okay, so you got a couple of different researches here, plus then you got the academy. You've got the academy bonus. Okay, if you look at your academy inside your station, the academy is also providing stats across the board, by the way, attack, health, and defense, equal to the level that it's upgraded to, equal to your ops in most cases. So statistics themselves are not technically a boost of power. The statistics themselves come into play on the ship that you put them on. So Blue says it helps guarantee the 300% stat boost. That's arguably true, okay? I still wouldn't use the word guarantee, all right? But it does help you get to the 300% a lot easier, as M. Panther says. And the 300%, those stat bonuses, those do impact your ship power, okay? So let's say, for example, that we're back at Ops 25, and you've got the opportunity to purchase Prime Officers, and you look at your best ship. At Ops 25, your best ship is a Kumari, all right? And you look down at the bottom, and you've got 150% attack bonus, 210% health bonus, and 140% defense bonus. And you have tried every which way to stack your officers in such a way that you can max those bonuses, all right? Then yes, I agree that Prime Officers is probably going to be super effective for you, because it will make your ship power stronger by increasing the statistics of the ship based on the officer statistics. Think of it like this. The more promoted the officer, the more stats it has, right? The more promoted the officer, let's go with a story. The more promoted the officer, the more experienced the officer is. The better the officer is in combat situations. All right? And by putting that officer on this ship, the ship performs better because of this officer. All right? It's kind of like that. All right? When your ship stats are able to increase, then yes, the power can increase, the weapons can increase, the mitigation can increase, the hull and shield health points can increase. Okay? So yes, when you say does Prime Officers increase power directly, no. But as a result of those 300%, yes. Now, here's the next thing. Hal says, I hate you're changing my mind. I don't mean to, because here's the thing. Somebody asked me this yesterday, and this was my answer. I said, if you don't have Prime Officers and you're struggling to get your 300%, then yes, I would invest in Prime Officers. However, if you are already at 300%, and by the way, at, say, Ops 25, you could also own the Vidar. All right. Now, the thing is, the required statistics for a Kumari are wildly different than that of a Vidar. The Vidar requires a lot of stats, but it also gets up to a 350% boost. But if I'm not mistaken, Gregor, what's the Vidar? It's like, what, 11,000 or 12,000 points?
Yeah.
It's up there. Okay. So Prime Officers may help you be more effective on your Vidar to get up to that 350% boost. So if you're not there, then yeah, sure. If you are already there, then it's arguable to me, until you get later ships, that you need those extra statistics. All right, now you unlock your Epic 34 ship and you've only got one underdeck slot. Maybe it helps to have an officer with a bunch of big stats. Okay, but I don't know. There, like I said, there's two very differing abilities with this. So Gregor, you said Borg Refinery. Now, we talked about the stats, and I didn't mean to steal away from your recommendation. You said Borg Refinery. Why do you believe in that?
Oh, because the indie credits and the faction credits, especially the indie credits, those are insane.
Okay. So independent credits, that doubles up, which, hey, listen, for even 30s level players today, we can't get enough independent credits. So imagine being able to amass those up much, much earlier. Imagine if we were able to start, at Ops 25, accumulating independent credits. We've never been able to do that, and we're starving for them today. Players today have a much better access to independent credits, and this would allow you to even double up. All right? Here's why I agree with Gregor. Faction credits, guys. Now listen, I know stats. I get it. But what is the ship that we keep preaching to our community to go get? That this ship can carry you all the way through the 30s. What's the ship? The Saladin. This ship can carry you all the way through to your Epic. This ship can carry you all the way through Ops 39. All right, but not alone, of course. You need to pick up the Epic along the way. But while you're upgrading the Epic, you can keep you can keep progressing, you can keep upgrading and killing those hostiles all the way to 39. How many of you guys use your Sally during a faction hunt? Tons of people. I see them all the time. When I'm in Ursva hitting 39s and 40s, by golly, there's Sallies everywhere. All over the place. Everywhere. There's Sallies. Which proves to me, for a lower level player who doesn't have prime officers, then the Saladin should arguably be your number one goal, right? Should arguably be your number one goal. And what was the hold-up factor for you guys? I know what it was for me. I even remember talking to you about it, Gregor, when I was tinkering with the idea of getting my Gladius. It was the faction credits. No, Captain Planet says Crystal. Now, well, maybe for upgrading it, yes, okay? But to get it, to build it, to own that ship. How many of you guys got to Consort and were immediately ready to build your Sally? Captain Planet said I had to save for a while. Hal and Shishi said I was able to do it. As soon as I got to Consort, I was ready.
It's always at a cost. Like, either you're not promoting officers so you can save the faction credits, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true. There is a choice.
Or used to grind fed and got a bunch of Sally blueprints, added one or two.
There is a clear choice. Okay, the faction credits can certainly help you long term. That can help you with officer promotion. It can help you with building of ships. Golly, it can even help you with officer recruiting. I mean, I use faction credits every single day to buy every single faction recruit chest I can get. By the way, not for those officers, but for transporter patterns. I do it to get transporter patterns so that I can promote my epics. And by the way, as you begin promoting your rare and epic officers, prime officers does lose a little bit of gusto. Now, it never loses all of its gusto, right, Ripper? Because there's a few officers that are built around statistics. Ripper, can you give us a few examples?
Spock, Zhao, Kang, Marcus. No.
Hugo put it in your chat, but he listed all the.
Oh, holy cow, Hugo! Thank you for that. Had no idea, Gregor, there were so many. That may actually potentially change my mind. Here's the thing: I don't know that most people use all of these officers. So you take a look at this list, all right, and you see that these are officers that will benefit from the mechanic or from the benefit of prime officers, because these officers are all based on stats. And by the way, if you boost up your stats, so do their abilities boost up. All right. So, Ripper, we got Gregor's. Okay. I've kind of impromptu given mine. What do you think? If you were a younger level player today, you've often said this, if I could go back and do it over again, I would do it differently, is what you've said. What would you do if given this choice by Scopely today? Prime officers or prime Borg?
I would take prime Borg.
You would take prime Borg?
Basically for the same reasons that already have been said.
Okay, so long-term officer promotion and getting the Sally. Here's what's interesting. A lot of people talking about prime officers out there, but if you really think about it, long game, and you think about the fact that you can scrap a ship at 34. I mean, I would have to think that this plays a part, Captain Bull. Can I reasonably get to Ops 34 today? If I'm in Ops 25, can I reasonably get to 34? Or will I, maybe if I wait an extra month or two, can I reasonably get to 42? The answer right now, today in the game, is that 42 is not free-to-play territory. Nope. Okay? 34 is very free-to-play territory at this point. Okay? Jerry Ryan says, I'm going to officers because Borg is half the price. That, okay, makes sense if you're going to acquire both of them. Sure. You convert this one to officers, and instead of buying prime officers at $100, you can get Borg for $50. Okay. Monetarily speaking.
Okay, yeah, then obviously that's
sure, yeah, if you're going to buy them both. But we're talking about a prime, Jerry, that's been in the game for over a year. And if that player hasn't bought it by now, are they going to? Although Jonathan Ingram is agreeing with you, said, hey, yeah, do $20 for the officers. Then if and when I'm ready, I'll do $50 for Borg. You know, I may not buy Borg right away, but at least it's half the price of officers. So maybe what you're saying is that player who wouldn't spend 100 on prime officers may be more likely to spend 50 on prime Borg. Okay, I can understand that.
But for free-to-play players, you know, you do the Borg Prime now, and you grind out that Mayflower or that D3 and scrap it, and you get the other Prime later. I was all on board with, get Prime Officers, get Prime Officers. But when you start really thinking about it, the Borg Prime is a better long-term investment.
I mean, you also get credits to upgrade your officers, and for many officers, getting them upgraded is better than having more stats.
Well, yeah, as far as abilities go, sure. So here's a couple of points for you guys, you know, and by the way, leading contributors of this show. All right, leading contributors of this show. Gregor is saying Borg. All right, Ripper is saying Borg. I'm a little bit. I'm not on the fence. I kind of gave a conditional statement, but I guess I kind of am recommending Borg. All right, but you know what? There's some really good counters to that here. The officer list is significant. All right, and the monetary
9 out of
thing.
10 dentists recommend it.
There you go. So again, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. If you see, there's a lot of different players telling you what to do or giving their advice, but it really kind of is very situational. It depends on what your account looks like right here, right now, today, and what your focus is. By the way, let's go back and look at this list from Hugo super quick. Gregor, how many of these officers are PvP officers, folks? All right, I would have to think. Let's see. Spock is arguably PvP because you don't need to recharge your shields in hostiles usually in PvE. Vemmet,
Almost all of them are in some way or
golly,
another.
Yanog.
Maybe not 6 of 10, maybe not Row Mud.
6 of 10 is for Armadas. Row Mud, I'm trying to remember hers. I don't even remember hers. Michael Burnham, the stat for her is shield stripping. That's PvP. TOS Spock is base defense, but PvP when defending from a player. TOS Kirk, that's PvP. That's when attacking a player. Captain Killy's only in territory nodes. Guys, this list is largely PvP. If you're not a PvPer, then maybe it doesn't matter. If you're not a PvPer, what are you focused on most likely? Mining, refining, progressing, building, researching, accumulating, promoting. You follow where I'm going with this? If you're not a big PvPer, then a lot of these officers for stats aren't going to matter to you. Maybe then Prime Borg Refinery is better because it is certainly going to get you progression faster. So I guess what I'm saying here is, and we'll wrap up with this. Thanks everybody for all your opinions. This is good because I want listeners to be able to determine this for yourself. Don't let anybody tell you what the better value is because the value depends on you. The value depends on what your goals are and what the status of your account is, and even the status of your current officers right now and what ships you're flying. This is a very unique question, and the unique answer lies with you. You got to decide. What do you think, community? I'd like to get your feedback, so leave your comments in the section below. Like this video, and be sure to click on the subscribe button. Click the little bell notifier, too, to be notified of future content that's coming your way. That way you are always in the know. My name is UltimatDjz. This has been another Teaching Trek video. We'll see you next time. Love you, mean it. Bye-bye.